No more campaigning. The last leaflet dropped. The final speech is over. This was the people's chance to make sense of the campaign. In fact, the 5 years since the last election. The hopeful couples did their duty. The high interest in this campaign, sparked by the television debates, is expected to increase voter turnout. The polls are still too close to call, although clearly Gordon Brown has a job to lose. And David Cameron has one he's desperate to gain. At 41,000 booths across the country, from pubs to caravans to shipping containers, the result, or at least a good guide to it, should emerge in about 6 hours. But with the prospect of a hung parliament, who emerges as winner, or winners, in the case of a coalition, is impossible to predict. One candidate, the UK Independent Party's Nigel Farage, narrowly avoided an early exit from his battle against the Speaker when the light plane he was in crashed after apparently getting tangled in the election banner it was towing. The pilot is in a serious condition and had to be cut from the wreckage. Mr Farage has minor injuries and is extremely lucky to be alive. And tonight is all about survival for Gordon Brown's Labour Party. He has never given up, but voters may have dumped him. Polls close in an hour.
Morning.
An important election to you today?
Yeah, very, yeah.
Why is it so
Get rid of this lousy government we've had for the last however many years it is, 13 years. Get the Conservatives in.
Turnout's been really high across the whole constituency, and I'm not sure if that's kind of because there's been more coverage, because it's genuinely seen as a three-horse race this time, or because people are kind of just generally more buoyed up for the election because of new media.
I would love no one to have an outright majority, so maybe we start debating issues rather than just following the party whips.
The worst scenario is the Tories getting in, as far as I'm concerned. The second one is a hung parliament, because whoever gets in with the most votes on a hung parliament won't be able to do what they want to do, and you'll have another election within months, so you'll have the same process all over again.
For more, correspondent Philip Williams joins us from London. And Phil, with polls about to close in less than an hour's time, what indications are there at the moment of voter turnout?
Well, voter turnout, it appears, and it's only anecdotally, appears to be up, substantially up. People I spoke to at one booth said that they hadn't seen such a turnout this early, at that stage it's fairly early in the morning, and this seems to reflect real voter interest in the outcome of this. It had started as a fairly flat campaign. There wasn't a lot of voter interest. There was a lot of voter apathy because of the MP's expenses scandals. What absolutely set this thing on fire was the debates, and people really have responded to that, got engaged, and hopefully have gone out and voted. And this is one of the unknowns, Michael, is what the 40%, reported 40% undecideds, which way they'll jump, and that could skew the poll, make the polls totally irrelevant. It's really exciting. The next hour or so, we'll get the exit polls and see how we go.
The polls, as they stand at the moment, do suggest that no party will get a working majority. So if the polls do translate into actual votes, we can expect to see some fairly furious horse trading in the next few days.
Absolutely, and of course the Lib Dems will be in the middle, in the box seat there. The Conservatives may attempt to convince everyone that they can go it alone in a minority government if they don't get a majority. Now, they may have the support, say, from some of the Ulster MPs in Northern Ireland. They may be able to garner some from Scotland, from Wales, and try and bypass the Lib Dems altogether. But it all depends on the result and how close it is. And the poll projections are that they might be 20, 30, 40 seats short. If that's the case, they may still try and go as a minority government. If they do, then there's, of course, always the risk that at any time they can be rolled, and that would force another election. At which stage they could say, look, we see what happens. We said this chaos would occur if you don't have a majority government, and then they would have an extra argument and an extra election to hopefully for them get over the line and establish themselves as a majority government. So there may actually be some strategy in them trying to acquire the government as a minority government.
And it wouldn't be an election day in Britain without some drama. We've got news this morning of a plane crash involving a prominent politician.
Yes, Nigel Farage, who's the former head of UKIP, the UK Independence Party. Now, I don't even know if you remember, a few weeks ago, he distinguished himself. He's an MEP, the member of the European Parliament, distinguished himself by absolutely insulting the new president, Herman Van Rompuy, calling him having the personality of a low-grade bank clerk, and who are you? Why are you here? This in the Parliament absolutely stunned everybody and shocked everyone. Well, now he's in the headlines again for the wrong reasons, and this time he was in a light plane, a two-seater, and they were towing an election banner, basically to encourage his campaign. He's running against the Speaker of the House. And there was a terrible accident, and it appears on first investigation that perhaps the banner got caught in the plane, in the tail of the plane. It came down, crashed terribly. When you see the pictures, it's absolutely miraculous that anyone got out alive. But the pilot was seriously injured, and Nigel Farage managed to get out with some broken ribs and some abrasions, but generally fairly unscathed, which was quite a miracle. But certainly election day story to tell. Whether that will affect the outcome there, we don't know. Would he get an extra little bit of sympathy vote because that happened in the morning and people know about it? We don't know. But certainly a very unexpected turn of events.
And finally and quickly, Phil, polls do close in an hour, and we should get at least some vague indication from exit polls at the time of the ballot booths closing.
Yes, very important, and I think we'll be crossing directly to the BBC, who will give us those exit polls pretty much at the top of the hour. So stay tuned to this channel, as always, of course everyone does, because hopefully we'll get some indication which way this incredible contest is actually going to go.
Thanks, Phil Williams in London.